you've worked in all aspects of publishing, and not only that, you've done what every starving writer wants to do. You've gone to a regular paycheck, not only a regular paycheck, in a glamorous profession. You became a radio personality on NPR. How did you go from writing to NPR and Sound and Spirit?
Dumb luck and nerve. You know, I was always one of those kids who had a lot of different enthusiasms. And I can remember teachers in high school saying, it'll be so interesting to see what you decide to do, Ellen. And I always wanted to be a writer. So I got out of college and went into publishing just because I couldn't find a job that wasn't publishing. But in college I had done a lot of radio, and I knew that I loved it, and I knew I was good at it. And I just didn't quite have the nerve to pursue it when I got out of school. And then I got my job in publishing. And then I wrote for a while, and I realized that I was missing something in my life, and that I would like to get back into some aspect of public performance. And I thought radio would work. I wanted to move to Boston. I knew there was a lot of good radio stations. There was a lot of good radio in Boston. More than one station doing classical, which was something at the time they wanted more women in classical. I could pronounce a lot of foreign languages. I knew classical music. So I went for it. I applied for jobs in Boston in public radio and in classical radio, and I got a job. And it was the overnight job. I had the graveyard shift, but it was at what was at the time the great public radio station in Massachusetts, if not in America, WGBH. And the people there eventually came to realize that I could do things, and so I got a series of higher profile positions until finally the people at PRI, Public Radio International, created a show for me, and that show was Sound and Spirit. And that was my big national series that again combined my passion for world music and culture, but also for myth and history and even aspects of the fantastic. It really was an incredible opportunity to just take everything I loved and cared about and turn it into this very dense, complex, one-hour weekly program.
Which bent genres all over the map.
I'm afraid so. I mean, you asked me originally what was my game plan, and really I am just sort of uncompromisingly not interested in classifications. And I'm very interested in doing things my way, and my job as an entertainer, as an artist, is to make you love it. And I've been very lucky so far in that I've been able to do these things that kind of defy category, defy classification, and still have a small measure of success. I mean, I would have to say that Sound and Spirit launched the same year as This American Life. And he's a lot more famous than I am. And, you know, there's a limit to what you can ask people to go for something that doesn't fit category and doesn't fit expectation. And it's true in my writing as well. And I think if it's a flavor you like, you'll love it, and you'll follow me anywhere. And if you never manage to hear of me because I'm not famous enough, or you just take the flavor and that's just not your ice cream of choice, okay, you know, that's life. I just feel very, very lucky that I've been able to get out and do as much as I have been and be able to really connect with and touch the people that I have.
Well, you connected with and touched a lot of people. I mean, there are folks who say it was the best thing on radio. And NPR must agree, because they have archived how many episodes?
Oh, my lovely, lovely home producing radio station, WGBH in Boston, wonderfully gave me a giant archive on their web. So there's, I think it has to be about 100 shows are archived on the WGBH site. And if you want to get there, by the way, the quick and easy way is go to my website, ellenkushner.com. Just click on radio and it'll take you right there.
And I'm sure many of our viewers will do that, because it is a fun show. You never know what's going to happen or what the mix is going to look like. But that was your Boston period, if you will. You've since moved back to New York. And you're getting into a lot of things. I mean, trying to keep track is an effort. You're in production, you're doing audiobooks. Could you tell us what's going on in your life right now?
Each year a new adventure. And this summer I moved back to New York was the summer that Privilege of the Sword came out. So my life was all about that. And then all these other opportunities kept coming to me. I wasn't ready to write another novel. Like, when I finish a novel, it's like I've just gone around the world by myself on a sailboat, and the last thing I want to do is get back out on the water. I really envy writers who would just finish one novel and start another. I can't do it. But I have so many other things I'm interested in. So I hooked up with some klezmer musician friends in New York City and thought, I don't really want to give up on radio completely. So we wrote a radio drama together, a musical audio drama called The Witches of Lublin, that also got picked up by Audible.com. So it's an audio book as well as a radio special. So we produced that with a terrific radio drama producer, Sue Zizza. And that took a few years, during which time a friend who's an actress introduced me to all these other actors, so I kind of got interested in that. And then my children's book, which had originally been a Sound and Spirit radio production, I did it as a book. And then a children's theater in New York wanted to do it as a children's play, and they cast me as one of the characters. So my lifelong dream of acting on a New York stage, even if it was a children's theater, came true. And I did that for a couple of years. It just seems like New York is bringing out in me the part of me that loves to just get up in front of an audience. So the latest thing is, a little sidestep, I have done another book though. Holly Black and I got together with Terry Windling, who created the wonderful, and I would argue seminal, urban fantasy series Borderland and Bordertown. I was one of the original writers for that series, and Holly was one of these teenagers who grew up dreaming of Bordertown. Now she's a celebrated and very influential urban fantasy writer, and I said to her, let's revive this thing. Like, you and me, babe. And we went to Terry and said, can we do this? And Terry was tremendously helpful and cooperative. So we restored the dream of running away to Bordertown to a whole new generation of kids, and that book came out last year from Random House Teen and is now out in paperback. Oh, I should get out and hold up in front of the camera.
It was downstairs in the
I have postcards of it. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous new paperback cover. So that, I can't say I haven't been writing. And I also have done a ton of short stories. I think to make up for no novels, I've written more short stories in the last 3 years than I think I have in the rest of my life. So that's been very satisfying. And then my new baby that I'm really obsessed with right now is doing audio, recording my own audio book versions of my Riverside novels. I've been so lucky to get to work with Neil Gaiman on that. He's doing a series of audiobooks called Neil Gaiman Presents. And the first one, Swords Point, came out last November. And I got to read my own novel. But Sue Zizza, my producer of Sue Media Productions, really wanted to kind of jazz it up. So and her specialty is sound effects and soundscapes. So we actually created soundscapes for some of the scenes where to me it's like you're falling asleep listening to someone tell you a story, and suddenly it's all real, to the extent that we even brought in some marvelous actors to become the characters in some key scenes. She's pioneered this whole concept, and we call it illuminated audiobooks. And it really, it sounds funny, almost like it could be kind of a hybrid, like sometimes I'm reading and sometimes there are actors, but because of the technique of production, it really is as though sometimes the dream becomes reality. So we have Simon Jones playing Lord Horn, who's absolutely wonderful, and Nick Sullivan, who's in Newsies right now. He's like my favorite Lord Ferris. And so that's been out for a bit, and I'm doing the second one right now. We're in the middle of production, and we've gotten some terrific actors, but most of it I get to read. And when I'm not reading, I'm sitting next to the producer in the booth going, they didn't quite get that line right. They have to tell him, make him sound angrier. So, but I'm a big-ass control freak, and I cannot believe that I'm getting this opportunity. I mean, you asked before, how did this happen? Dumb luck may be the best answer for anything. I just fall like Alice down the rabbit hole into these wonderful rabbit holes where I get to do this fantastic creative work that I shouldn't be allowed. They never let writers, like, direct the authors, and yet somehow there I am. So
and enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah, I really am.
What's the next story we can expect to see from you, or will there be a novel in the near future, a new novel?
Not in the near future, because I have to write it first.
Okay.
I'm pecking away at this novel that is giving me all sorts of trouble, and then, every 6 months I go, okay, I've got it now. So I can't give you anything right away, but if it comes out all right, it will be another Riverside novel. But again, from a very different point of view and at a different time period. I shall say no more, lest I look like a complete idiot if I can't carry it off.
Hey.
But I'm really enjoying it. I'm really interested in writing about girls right now, about teenage girls, and aspects of their lives that people don't talk about. I mean, having been a teenage girl, having been a weird teenage girl, I know that the mainstream doesn't always get it right or doesn't always get it.
Are there any other kinds of teenage girls? Because I was a weird teenage girl. Everybody I knew was a weird teenage girl. I think that normal is weird, you know.
I agree, and I found out my sister-in-law was not a weird teenage girl. She was like normal, cheerleader, stylish, the whole bit. But she tells me, she said, I just cry every night. I don't think there are any happy teenage girls.
I think
they're just teenage girls who pass better than others.
Yeah, that's my thought, is that it's some pass, but even those who pass know that they're not quite as mainstream as they're supposed to be.
Well, one of the things I loved about writing The Privilege of the Sword was that it's sort of, my main character doesn't want to be a weird teenage girl, but becomes one.
Yes.
And she's constantly gauging herself against the character that I have, Artemisia, who is the normal girl, who's doing all the things a normal girl's supposed to be doing. And their friendship and what happens between them and how their friendship is mediated through this book that they're both obsessed with, that to me people don't talk about. And I've gotten a lot of really good response from that the things that really matter to girls can be things like a book that they both picture themselves having adventures in. And, you know, we really privilege, you know, the narrative where you grow up and become sexually mature, and that's pretty much your story. But there's a lot more going on at that period of life.
Anything you'd like to add?
Oh, you know, I'm having a great time talking to you. I could talk for hours. But I feel like we're pretty well caught up. I've had a great time talking to you, and I just, you know, look forward to catching up in a few more years and seeing what else has happened to us both.
Great. Thank you so much, Ellen, and thank you, viewers from Buzzy Magazine.